Alright, hello. This is Nitpick Podcast, and we're here with a game that I've been peer pressured into trying, which is Factorio. It's just me, I'm on my own for now. Maybe I'll be joined by one of the other two friends at some point. So I've only played this for a couple hours so far. I've basically just gone through the tutorial, and it's a kind of complicated game. It reminds me of games like Rimworld and Prison Architect, which can take a long time to get used to. We were just an astronaut who's crashed his spaceship. Everybody else has died, and we're trying to get off this crappy alien planet we've landed on by making a new one. Which you do. It takes a very, very long time. You have to build a lot of stuff first. So I just looted my spaceship. That's the first thing. Found a bit of iron plates with it. And now what I'm going to look for is my basic resources: coal, stone, iron, and copper. And then a water source. The water source can wait a little while, though. By looking at the map, I see that there's some. What I don't see is copper. I see aliens. Okay, well, in any case, you start out with a couple things. You start out with one stone furnace and one burner mining drill. At the start of the game, what you need is coal. I'm actually going to use this to mine some coal.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. A. I'm just starting a game. I guess I could just jump onto a multiplayer one if you would like.
I don't know. Sure. Are we gonna wait for Meco to do the multiplayer? I think he wanted to.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could do that. I don't know if he will show up or not, though, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Just because, I think he might be asleep or something.
It's possible. So you've played, I know you played a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Is a new game you're starting just for the stream?
Yes, mostly for the tutorial. Okay. And I wanted to put my first drill down on coal. I figured that'd be the way to go, but I don't even have enough wood to make a box. So I figured I'll just buy this. This is the first map I've seen where there's no trees at all near the starting location.
All those broken trees, if I'm seeing that correctly.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Those all work, yeah.
From what I've seen, wood isn't really the most important resource in this game, so I'm not too worried about it. I think what I particularly like is to have my iron and water as close together as possible.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how varied the starting locations are in this game. I've never had a start where, everything's too far apart, but it can definitely be more or less convenient.
It seems like it is designed to put like the 4 basic resources pretty close to you.
Right. And as long as there's any water, you're set because it's infinite.
Yeah. I was wondering about that because I had a really small water source like on one of my maps.
Yeah. Even if you can't fit many pumps on it, you don't really need to. The pumps usually give you way more than...
Yeah. I've never played to a point where I need like a second boiler yet, although I'm sure that comes up. So I find that iron is like the most important resource overall, but coal is good at the start too.
Yeah, that's true. You'll need much more iron than anything else.
Yeah, it seems like stone,
iron and copper.
Stone you can get away with like basically none, and copper never seems to be the limiting factor for me.
Yeah, that's about right.
At the start of the game, I kind of just feed my furnaces like directly from drills as well.
Yep, that's perfectly valid. Yeah, I think the start of the game is my least favorite part before you get like electricity and electric drills.
It's definitely the most manual. You're running around between different things to load coal into them and stuff.
Right. And not just that, but nothing you set up is really useful for expanding because you're going to swap it all out. So it's kind of just not a waste of time, but it can feel that way.
When I played before and got to the point of having electricity, I left my coal drills drilling just because I don't know if you can you like deconstruct things you've made to get the resources back?
Nope, no.
Yeah, I didn't
Not
think
without
so.
mods.
Yeah, that would be a nice feature to have, I think, because sometimes it seems like a lot of stuff just will sit around, not doing anything anymore.
Right.
Now I just want stone so that I can get a second drill, or a third drill, I guess. Should put on stone, and then I'll do a fourth one on copper. And I'll probably do a fifth one on coal, and then iron.
Yeah, you really just, it's, at least the good thing is at the start it's mostly convenience. You don't need much before you get to electricity and can start really expanding.
Pretty quick. And then you get the loader, the inserters, which are the most important part of electricity, really. And the production machines are good too.
Right. Yeah, I'll try to let you kind of explore it on your own. And maybe give you little tips here and there, but I think it's most fun if you learn it. Are you know, what do you think about it so far? Is it at least like interesting?
I guess so, yeah. I think I played, I was playing it on my own. I wasn't bored, like it wasn't to the point where I just wanted to shut it off, so I kept going for a while, which is a good enough sign,
yeah.
And I was playing like God of War. I just wanted to shut it off every second as I was playing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you planning to replay those for the stream?
I don't know. Probably not. Actually, I don't really have a good way to record console games.
Oh, fair. Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
You need like a capture card, I guess. I don't think it's that hard, but I just never learned to set up.
Right. I think that's it, really. You just need a capture card. Yeah, same. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know if I would want to replay them for the stream, but we could talk about them for one of the podcast episodes. That might be valid.
That's a good idea. I've only played the third one, and one of the PSP ones. They're all the same. I mean, maybe not. I guess. But oh no, I did play the second one. I played that. I borrowed a friend's PS2. So.
I think the third one is overall the most interesting. Although, to me, none of them are very interesting at all. But the third one, it has that part at the end where Kratos is sort of trying to, redeem himself. Which I don't think is very well done in that specific game, but Silent Hill 2 kind of does similar things, and that's a very interesting game.
Yeah. That's a good one. I have Silent Hill 2. I started it. I never got very far.
Do you know, about the twist?
I don't think so. I know, the basic plot, but nothing comes to mind when you say the twist, so.
Okay, well, I won't say too much more then to avoid spoiling it.
Sure.
That's one of those games that gets discussed enough that I already knew about what constitutes the twist before I started playing it. But I still
I'm sure I've heard of it. If you told me, I'd be like, oh yeah, but just in case, I'll stop asking. Silent Hill 1. I haven't played a lot of old school horror games. Resident Evil. I know that's not true. I played Resident Evil. It was a long time ago. I played the original PS1 version.
Yeah, I have that, but I actually haven't started it.
I have the remake, so I was thinking about doing that one on stream.
Oh, the GameCube one? Yeah, I've heard that's good. I've heard people were satisfied with that as a remake.
I don't know if it's the GameCube one. It's the one for PC. That I don't know if it's like another remake or if it is just the
I
GameCube
think
one.
there's only the one remake, but I could be wrong.
Because it's just called Resident Evil, and it is the first game, but I think it is like I think it's the GameCube.
Well, there's also the director's cut, which was on PS1 and just changes some things.
Yeah, I think that's part of the one I played. Because I got it because you can get like PS1 games on a PS3, so that's what I did.
Yeah, the PlayStation Classics. Yeah, that's how I played all the Final Fantasy games and stuff as a teenager.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did that for Silent Hill 1, which I never beat.
Yeah, I also did that for Silent Hill 1, which I like. 2 is generally considered like the best one, but the first one's pretty good.
Yeah, I hear 2 and 3 are like both really good. And then so a lot of people didn't like 4, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard that it's like the story stuff's actually quite interesting, but there's some weird gameplay mechanics.
Okay.
So I've never actually been attacked by the aliens on this game so far, but I'm a little wary of the fact that there's a nest very close to my copper resource.
Right. Oh, well, you can clear it. I mean, they don't. You can. There's a pollution map mode that you can see how far it's spread, and it, when it spreads to them, that's when they attack. Otherwise, they don't. They know you're there.
I see.
And they like the more you pollute, the more they mutate and become more powerful. So it's kind of a scales with you.
I did like a 2 turret rush sort of strategy on the nest, which seems to work.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's how I did it. I had a mod that for convenience would auto load turrets when you put them down. If you had ammo in your inventory, put it in. And I realized that was a bit exploitative for clearing monster alien nests.
It would make that much easier, yes.
Right.
Yeah, that was always the hard part for me, is that I'd keep misplacing my ammo as I was trying to throw it down to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's usually a spitter thing too. It's kind of like the spore crawlers in StarCraft.
Yes.
And so I found that if you get that to attack you instead of your turrets, it makes it much easier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
You can actually dodge its shots.
Right.
I don't really know how to manipulate what the AI targets, though, in this game.
I think it's just proximity, honestly.
Yeah, I think you probably just go in there first without it. Tower and then aggro it. Then...
Right, because they don't, I think when you, if it's already attacking a structure and you start attacking them, they won't switch targets or anything. I think it is just slitter.
I usually just don't even carry a gun. I just use all my ammo for the turrets. I don't know if that's sufficient or not, though.
You'll want a gun for when they attack your base and there's no turrets there, I guess. But turrets can be looked for.
Early on, you want a gun. Plus, it just seems more in character for the Factorio guy to just let turrets do all his fighting for him.
Yeah.
For now, I'm just kind of waiting until I have enough copper and stuff to start doing electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Might make one more drill for iron. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, the small holes are kind of the only reason to use. It's the only reason you need trees, really.
Yeah.
Or wood. At least later on, doesn't do much else.
I think I only really use it for boxes.
Yeah, you'll need a lot, because you don't unlock larger electric poles until later, so you'll need a lot of small ones at the start.
Poles, yes.
Yeah, another kind of tip that I hear a lot, and I've only recently started doing it, but it makes sense, is basically as soon as you can, just automate basic stuff like belts and motors, because you'll be making them by hand forever. Otherwise, it just saves a lot of time.
Yeah,
more than you'd think.
think on my other file, the first things I set up was I made an automated like lab, and then I made bullets. Started making bullets.
Yep, absolutely.
I've got my electricity started now.
Very nice. Yep.
I always forget which thing is supposed to line up with which.
Water goes into boilers, and then from the boilers, the steam goes into the engines.
Yeah, but there's like one pipe that the water goes into, and there's one pipe that attaches to the engine.
Oh, yeah. Well, it does show you the little icon, but it's hard to see.
Yeah, and so there's not enough room, I'm sure.
And kind of the optimal setup is two engines, like two boilers with one engine each. Or no, sorry, two boilers with two engines each, and then leave a space, and you can put a pole in that space, and then that's like scalable.
Okay.
Where you can keep that pattern up, and every engine will have a pole attached to it, so you get electricity from all of them. And one boiler can handle two engines in a row.
Okay.
That's a basic one. I won't tell you like optimal layouts because they're usually hard to explain, and it's best to figure out on your own. But that's a simple one.
So I'd say probably the most important first thing to do once you get electricity is to link up your coal and your electricity, and then like create a whole bunch of belts so that your engine is self-feeding.
If you hold left click while you're putting down poles, it'll automatically space them.
Oh, okay.
It'll not only automatically space them correctly, but it'll automatically put one down so that every building that you're next to gets power. So it's like really easy to lay them out.
Yeah, the only Resident Evil game that I've ever actually played is 4.
Okay. That's the kind of departure from the originals.
Yeah, people talk about it being like more of a transition into action-based games, although from my impression of them, I would say that from older Resident Evil games are already fairly action-oriented.
Compared to something like Silent Hill, they're still survival horror, but that's not inaccurate. I've played the original and the second one, like the not the remake, but the original one. And I started the third one, but I was kind of burnt out. I did them all in a row, so I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I've heard the third one isn't that great. I think people like Nemesis, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's probably true. And the fourth one is my favorite, as probably like everyone else's, except for diehard old fans. But
yeah, I think that's right. Yes, I really like the fourth one. I had fun with that.
This one I liked. I know it's worse in like every way,
Yeah,
but
I've heard something about that, yeah.
co-op was really fun when I played it with a friend of mine.
Yeah, I think one of the things people don't like about the original one is that, or the fifth one in general, rather, is that the AI sucks.
Yeah, the AI is terrible.
So,
but with a buddy, it's
yeah.
Also, I just realized this is exactly what we were talking about in the last stream as well. It's Resident Evil co-op.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, yeah. Resident Evil, is like the tradition.
Yeah, I know. And I like the direction they took with the 7th one. I haven't beaten it either, but
yeah, I've heard mostly good things about that one. I just put the stream on, be right back, because Ramus pointed out that I forgot to change the category. That's partially because I don't actually know how to do that in Streamlabs. I only know how to do it in OBS.
I think when you hit play, it asks you all that stuff. I think that's what it was.
I think you're right.
I don't know. Does having the wrong category prevent Rain from inviting his friends? Because it's only people who will watch. But
I think it. Yeah, that's true. I think that is the only thing it does. It makes it slightly easier for people to discover it. Like, if a random person happens to go, be like, "Oh, look at Omori stream," and then they end up watching Factorio, they'll feel a little bit disappointed.
Yes.
I guess I'll just look it up on Google.
Sure.
Okay, I can't figure that out. I think it's actually very simple if you're actually logged into the account, but because I'm using the stream key, it's harder. I might be wrong.
Oh, interesting.
The last time, I didn't change the category to Omori. Last time Meco did, because he's the one who's actually logged into the account.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when I streamed, it was my account, so yeah, could be.
Yeah, I know how to do it on OBS when it's your account. I'm not sure about this setup, though.
Mm-hmm.
I might be just doing it wrong, but when I checked what I think is, what you go to change it, it just gave me completely different options for what I'm supposed to have. I think that's because I was doing somewhere else. Oh well. I don't think it's a particularly big deal. Maybe somebody might get gypped into watching a
Factorio stream,
because they think they're watching Omori. But
probably enough people are streaming Omori that they wouldn't find our stream anyway.
Probably.
There's only a chance of unless I SWAT, because literally nobody's playing that right now. I think Omori's kind of popular.
Well, it's only come out a couple of months ago too, so that helps.
Yeah. Factorio is pretty popular too, especially they just officially released the game, so big patch. Yeah,
it's going to early access.
Yep. It's a good example of early access done right. I know people like to shit on it, but a lot of games I like have come out of that program.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the best examples. I know there's FDL came out and that was perfectly successful.
Yep. Kerbal Space Program was good. Factorio, obviously. All the Factorio knockoffs right now are early access. They're pretty good.
Oh yeah, Shovel Knight also was, wasn't it? Yeah, and Omori, that was Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like anything else. I think a lot of people just sort of misuse early access. They just use to try and sell an unfinished product, and then they end up not finishing it.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate because a lot of the big unfinished ones are more like mainstream, I guess. I know, like
more noticeable.
Arc was a good example that a lot of people were playing, but I know the devs kind of abandoned it and were generally kind of shitty.
I didn't know about that, actually. I know that it was popular for a while. I didn't know that it had floundered like that, though. That's too bad.
They without finishing the base game, they released an expansion that was like as expensive, and people were pissed off. And then I don't know. I think since then it's just gotten worse.
I think I started too close to the aliens on this road. I'm actually about to get killed. Because I just got attacked like multiple times by them before I could even like begin to make bullets. Because
gotcha.
you really have to research. Okay, whatever. I'll just try starting over on the same level. I think part of
you can, if you respawn. I don't know if you've done it before, but you just go pick your stuff back up. It's actually not that bad. But yeah, that's fair. You can go for an easier seed.
I think the problem was that when I was trying to change the Streamlabs settings, I left the game running.
Oh, I see. Okay, that could be it. Yeah, the first couple times I played on peaceful mode just so I could learn it without worrying about the aliens.
Yeah.
And me and Meco both had like the same experience for the first time we played with aliens on, and for Meco it was like the first time he played. They got really annoying about midway through the game until you kind of expand past that point, and then they're a non-issue. Okay. But just be careful because they can outscale you if you're not mindful.
Yeah.
That's one of the people's, I think, complaints is that aliens are really annoying early and they become completely irrelevant later.
Yeah, I can see it being an issue because I do question whether it actually like fits into the general gameplay principles of this, or whether it's more of like a disruption.
I think it's I guess it just depends on if you like the challenge added. It is a disruption, on purpose. So
that's true.
It depends on whether you like it or not, I suppose.
Yeah, honestly, the nests are a lot closer to the starting resources than the other ones I tried. That's what happened. I think generally you should research automation first, but I might actually research the turrets first because of that. If I can.
Yeah. Anyway. I like the name of our stream as well. Episode 1, A Game for Depression.
Yeah. I mean, it's not inaccurate when it's Factorio, I wouldn't say.
Sure. Yeah, Factorio kind of feeds into that same, like, one more turn mindset that Civilization has.
Yeah, yeah.
One more tech, one more, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I forget I can't have the game in full screen or I can't see what anyone is typing.
You miss Ram's comments.
Right.
I just use my phone. I have my phone on the stream and then I have my computer doing on the game.
That's smart.
It's kind of like a dual monitor setup, but for poor people.
Yeah. I think that's another benefit of the game is that it's easily, you can run it at like max graphics on a toaster.
That's true, for sure, yeah.
And it looks good. I think its sprite art is quite good.
Yeah. It's sort of the benefit of going with a more stylized approach.
Right. It doesn't get dated as quickly.
It doesn't get dated, and it's easier on people's computers. I think one example that people will talk about a lot that sort of gives credence to that is Zelda Wind Waker, actually, where when it first came out, people were like bitching about it because of the cel-shaded art shot style and stuff, but now it seems to have, in a way, aged, like improved with age. It still looks fine, even though most games from that era that were trying to be like look real look like shit now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another good example is World of Warcraft, which came out in like, what was it, like 06 or something? And they've had a couple of graphical revamps, but it still looks old, but because it's kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
It's a good way to go if you want your game to have longevity. It's a good idea for an MMO, especially.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, in general, you should look to what World of Warcraft did if you want to make a like financially successful MMO.
Yeah, that's true. There have been, but even then, it's I don't know what it is exactly, because a lot of games have tried to copy WoW, and even just, it's like a copy, but improved on it, but it still didn't catch on the same one.
Maybe just because WoW had already cornered a significant portion of the market, in a way.
That's true. And I guess a lot of people, don't like certain things, so they go to other games that might change aspects, but I guess not enough people dislike it and want to move away from it. So
yeah. I think I haven't played really any MMOs to comment too much, but with like MOBA games, when I would try a new one, I think a lot of the time I would just not want to learn the mechanics of the new one, so I would just go back to League of Legends. And I can see a similar thing happening with World of Warcraft, where it kind of has just so much momentum that it's difficult for anything else to compete, because either people will do that or they'll get into WoW because their friends are already playing it, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing, is whatever your friends are playing. I hop between games because my friends would. And, I had fun, but you can always come back to WoW. Now I don't play it at all.
Oh, okay. You used to play it, though?
Yeah, I used to. I was never, as into it. I'd usually hop on every other expansion and play through it and then stop.
Oh, okay.
But, one of my buddies would raid and all this, frequently. And then, like I said, another guy, he would buy, every new MMO that came out. And he couldn't find one that he liked, but he kept trying.
That's too bad.
I like the concept behind it. It is a great kind of social kind of game to play. And it can be challenging. It kind of depends on what you want to do. It can be a little more relaxing. MOBA is different in that it's always very competitive and very challenging.
That's true.
MOBAs have kind of replaced, where RTS games used to be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because they have the same, I guess they scratch the same itch, but without having to memorize build orders and practice as much.
Yeah. They're both quite technical genres of game, but I think RTS is super technical. The barrier to entry can be very intimidating. That was how I felt when I tried StarCraft 2, that I would just get very overwhelmed trying to keep up at all in any fights, really.
Yes. Yeah.
So when it comes to this genre of game that Factorio occupies, I think the main points of comparison I have are Rimworld and Prison Architect, which this game reminds me a little bit of Rimworld at points.
Yeah.
And I like both of those games, but I think the issue I end up having is that once I have to take apart my base and go back and make things more optimal, that's when I sort of tap out, almost get annoyed.
Yeah.
So
I've never played Rimworld.
Okay.
It looks fun. I like Prison Architect. I used to play it a lot.
Yeah, the interface and everything in Rimworld is quite similar to Prison Architect. So
yeah, the graphics look pretty
in that way. Yeah, but there's more of an emphasis on the auto-generated characters and stuff like that, and it really fucked up.
I've heard about. It's kind of it's the same genre, I guess, as Dwarf Fortress, but more accessible.
Yes, yeah. Dwarf Fortress is also a really difficult game to get started on.
Dense, yeah. I think it's coming out on Steam, and I think simultaneously they're releasing a real graphics pack, so that people can actually play it. So I'm excited to try it. I have tried it before, but it was too much.
Yeah, I tried. They got the game and then tried to play and couldn't even figure out how to start. Basically,
yeah. it's very, very unforgiving. And it's designed to be kind of trial and error. But
yeah,
I played other things. I think that's one thing that Factorio improved on that makes it more accessible is that, like, yes, you can waste resources and make a building that you don't need, and you can't refund it, I guess, but you can always pick stuff up and move it around, and eventually, you'll put that building back down again whenever you're expanding. There's nothing in the game that's like useless or that you actually only need one of, so it's hard to mess up. The way you mess up, I guess, is by letting the aliens overwhelm you.
In comparison to Rimworld, I think it's much easier in this game to like rearrange stuff when you need to, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do have to like deconstruct and reconstruct things in Rimworld most of the time if you want to move them. In Prison Architect, I felt the same way, where I would get introduced to a new mechanic, but the way my prison was set up wouldn't really be able to like make good use of it, so I'd have to rearrange everything quite a bit.
Yeah, I think in Prison Architect, I also found that to be an issue, and the way I avoided it was by planning everything out extensively ahead of time. But that made starting new games really tedious.
Yes.
Because I want to plan it all out, because I knew it would be a pain to change things later.
Yeah, I don't like to do that.
You don't have to do that in Factorio at all.
I can avoid that. Yeah, the aliens are really a nuisance on this map. I set up a gun turret and thought that would be enough, but then they just came and fucked it. So I think I'm just going to start over on a different map.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, there's no... Maybe Meco might disagree, but there's no shame in peaceful mode just while you're learning the game.
Yeah, no, that was okay.
I'm concerned.
I won't go that far just yet.
Okay.
I think that map was just... I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed really dumb. The amount of aliens. It was really super close to my starting point.
Yeah.
Now it just spawned me down on the exact same seed, so...
Yeah, I'm surprised Meco's not on. He seemed interested in joining. I mean, I know he's probably trying to fix his sleep schedule. But...
I think that's probably what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's probably in bed. That's okay, though. Even though he's the one who peer pressured me into playing this game.
I know.
Yeah, so on this map, there's like, looking at the mini-map, there's one alien nest that's super far away from me. In comparison, the last one, it was 2 maps that were like right next to the resources. 2 nests. Which is, I don't know how unusual it is, but it's much more than I was used to.
Speak of the devil. I was just complaining that you weren't joining us.
Yeah.
I've been asleep.
No, that's what I figured. No need to apologize. We ended up discussing Resident Evil again, so I think that's kind of the direction this podcast is going to go in from now on.
Yeah, this is the Resident Evil podcast now.
Yeah, I need to change the
title. Yeah.
It's one weird game of Mario.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, I can't change it when I'm just streaming with the seed, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'll just have to give you account details and then you can do it in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, we promise not to ruin the account.
It's very important to Rain that we stream under the right title.
Yeah. His friends are trying to find us, but they can't. No, it's we can change it. We should definitely.
So yeah, Resident Evil fans.
Yeah, what's the best Resident Evil game in your opinion?
I know what you're gonna say.
I'd probably it's between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4. You know.
Okay, all right. Nah. I had 2, the old one or the remake.
I don't know really. I haven't played the remake, but I've heard it's like really good because it's like a mix of 4 and the originals.
Yeah.
People seem
it is
quite like the remake.
Yeah, and then they remade 3, and it kind of was received the same as I guess the original was.
Yeah.
People were like, that's not that good.
Yeah.
They cut content from an already. I think it was already short, the original game. So.
I don't know what people are expecting. Like they're probably expecting a Final Fantasy VII remake, where they just like, extend it more than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And because
well, the gist of what I heard is that like Nemesis was the main selling point of Resident Evil 3, but Mr. X from the remake of Resident Evil 2 kind of made him seem less impressive in comparison.
Yeah. And Mr. X was in the original game, but he wasn't I don't think he was as iconic as Nemesis, but the new Mr. X is now like way more iconic than Nemesis.
Yeah. That's how it seems. I didn't even know he was in the original one. That's how unimpressive he must have been in the first version.
Exactly. Yeah, he'd only chase you a couple times, but so Nemesis, the original 3 had this Nemesis system where Nemesis would chase you throughout the game, and they kind of improved on that for Resident Evil 2, the remake. And so then when when they, I guess, did the same thing for the remake for 3, it just wasn't as cool anymore because they'd already done a better job or as good of a job in the 2 remake. Whereas, yeah, like in the original 2, Mr. X showed up a couple times, but otherwise he wasn't around the whole time.
So it's kind of like Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2, where it's like a fixed couple of areas that he's around for.
If I remember correctly, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
And he is like the big. Well, he's one of the 2 big bosses, I guess, depending on which route you take, I think. Because there's the G virus thing and Mr. X.
What that brings
Spoilers,
to
I
mind
guess.
a little bit is Clock Tower, which I don't know. Have you guys ever played that one?
I've watched a playthrough of it. I know it's like one of the first, if not the first, survival horror game.
It's also notable for being one of the very few 2D. The original one is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Very few 2D survival horror games, and there's like enemies that will chase you around a large area in that game too. But it turns out that the conditions that will get them to start chasing you in the very first game for SNES are actually very like limited and specific. So once you know that, the game becomes a lot less scary, I would say, because you're not in danger unless they're chasing you, and you kind of know how to avoid getting them to start chasing you to begin with.
I think that's true for any kind of game like that. Resident Evil 2 Remake, if you know how Mr. X works, like I'd say he's still oppressive, but less so if you know kind of best ways to avoid him. Yeah. And then Alien Isolation is a good example of that. Once you know the inner workings of the alien AI, it's easy to avoid it generally. But, first time playing through it, you should definitely not look up anything about it because it kind of doesn't ruin it, it's still good, but makes it less impressive.
That makes sense, yeah. I guess I assume that is probably true for basically any horror game, is once you get a good understanding of the mechanics, it stops being scary.
Right.
So maybe you should just not try to attain that much mastery at horror games. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like sort of the only example where it would be like that, because in any other game you would almost certainly want to learn how the AI works. Like Fire Emblem is a great example. I've seen people playing that, and if they really know like how the AI decides targeting and everything, they can pull off some really sick shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Or like XCOM is a good example. The inner workings of XCOM. Because the game does lie to your face about what the actual RNG is, and if you understand that.
Oh, really? Like, does it have like a 2RN system, like Fire Emblem does, or?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, in Fire Emblem, some of the games anyways, they basically just roll 2. Like, if a hit says that it's 90%, it's actually higher than 90% because they roll 2 RNs and average them or something along those lines.
Oh, yeah. XCOM does, like, it... Yes, it the hits are, let me think, the hits are easier than it tells you they are. I think on almost every difficulty. I don't know if this is true for the hardest difficulty, but when the game says it's like 60%, it's actually like 70 or something like that. Okay. Yeah. But also it has an averaging system where if you're doing really well, it will start to make your hits worse than the game is telling you, so that like you're not. I guess that reduces the RNG, but I also find that annoying, like on principle. But there are odds to fix that, like always. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of how they implemented it.
I'm not a big
at least in those respects.
So.
And that's what people notice is like, oh, why did it say 95% and I missed? I mean, like, yeah, technically you will miss 1 out of 20 times, but that feels shitty. But it's also, it could have been less than 95 because maybe you've been hitting too many enemies before that, which is odd.
That game.
That is a very odd system to use, yeah.
There's no defending it. There's no excuse.
I've never heard somebody dislike it as much as you, which I get why. But
I don't hate it. It just pisses me off. Like when I played it, every time I get to a point where I'm just like, I cannot be fucked with this fucking bullshit.
I get annoyed with games where randomness is too, I guess, prevalent. And I think in XCOM it's very, very important.
Yeah,
it's much more important than I would like.
I think that's the case. It depends on how far you get. I don't know how far you guys got into it, which I'm not. This isn't even praising it really, because at the start it feels very random, and you are much more on par with the enemies. But later on, when you upgrade all your armor and your guns, and you have these great skilled squads, none of it matters. Like, yeah, you miss a shot, but it doesn't even matter anymore because you can like 1 or 2 shot enemies. And so the game becomes, if you know what you're doing, the game becomes too easy later anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, it has a weird difficulty scaling system, I feel, where it starts off difficult and then you learn it and then the difficulty doesn't, like, yeah, the enemies get a lot tougher, but once you figure out their tactics and how they work, the difficulty never increases to the point where it's really challenging again, except for a few maybe boss fights.
Yeah, I think when you start to have RPG mechanics in games, strategy games, they tend to become easier later on as a result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if we go back to Fire Emblem, that's actually a very prevalent, I don't know if I'd say issue, but characteristic of those games is the difficulty tends to be very front-loaded, actually. Because in the first couple chapters of the resources that your team has are very constrained and everything. And then you can kind of just turn some of your characters very overpowered quickly, and then the mid to late game you kind of stomp.
Yeah, and there's a really popular mod for XCOM called the Lawn War, which tries to extend the game and make it more consistently challenging. But it makes it like the name says, just really, really, really long. So it's more of an endurance thing, and like you end up playing the many, many more missions before your tech increases and everything's more expensive. So it just keeps the game. I think the point is it kind of keeps the game in the more challenging time period, like the early stage, for longer. I've never played enough. Like it was too much. It kind of got tedious. I never played that long into it, but I don't know if it stays challenging throughout.
I don't mean to. Well, I do mean to backseat game. That's the point. But if I were you, Exdeath, I'd concentrate on putting electric drills on the coal first, because you really want as much electric as possible.
Okay.
So have the coal going. I'd start with just fueling.
The reason I picked iron first is because my next priority is to get an auto-loading engine, or steam engine. So I want to make a lot of transport builds. Because after that, I just don't need to give a shit about coal anymore, really.
You could be using coal a lot in the beginning just for the power.
That's true. That's true, but you never need, like, Exdeath and I kind of talked about this earlier, and let's see if you agree, Meco. The only thing that ever really restricts you is iron. Because copper is generally not the bottleneck, and then stone is mostly useless, and coal, like, you never need more than one coal field at a time. Like, you're just not using that much. The big spikes for coal are obviously for electricity, which is happening now, and then when you need to make, for smelting. Anytime you need to smelt, you're going to use a lot of coal, but not to the point where you need to expand that much.
In the vanilla one, I found that, stone's really not that useful after a while, but that's why I like that. I can't fucking pronounce that.
Oh, the Factorio mod, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of use out of stone, which I like.
Yeah, and coal, because coal, you have to smelt it into coke for steel. I don't remember if that's in the base game or not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so it does increase the challenge that way a little bit. And wood.
It was because of the way I was playing, but I found that once I got like belts going to my electricity setup, I really didn't need very much coal. Like, I have way more coal than I needed basically all the time.
I think that's generally the case.
Yeah, I think after a while, all coal just went to my generators, and then
And then once you switch to solar or nuclear, if you ever do switch, nothing wrong with steam, except it's just it'll take up a lot of space later, because you just get a lot of it. But
there's them upgraded ones on the Factorio mod, which are really useful as well. But they, you feed them fuel, oil.
Oh, yeah, I totally didn't use those. I skipped those. I skipped straight to nuclear, I think.
I had trouble with nuclear because I couldn't find any for ages, so I had to use that for a bit.
Oh, it can be a pain. That's true. And there's like antimatter, but I never played to like end game. But that's another thing I like about the vanilla game is that I think the progression is like pretty well. What am I trying to say? It never ends up being too complex. Like by the time you're doing like really complex stuff, the game kind of just ends. And a lot of mods vastly increase the complexity, which is nothing wrong with that. Once you're familiar with the base game, people want more challenge and more, I guess, realistic manufacturing processes and that kind of thing. I don't know.
I think the Factorio mod, though, it makes up for the fact that it's a bit more complicated by the fact that the technology gets like really good. Like you get bigger crates, you get bigger, better. Power and options, and whereas with this, obviously, there's nothing really like that. It's very basic.
Right, you have to like for storage, you just have to have like a field of small boxes. But then the game isn't really intended. Like people build mega bases, but I think the game is more intended that you just get to the end. Build your rocket, because people go try to build, record number of rockets at a time and these huge mega factories, which, not saying it's the wrong way to play it, but I feel like that's a playstyle more suited to mods that add things that allow you to scale up to that level more easily, where the base game doesn't have that stuff because it's not really intended for that. It's more like you finish the game and then you can play with mods, I guess. And you never ever need like a mega base or crazy amounts of production to make your end game rocket. Which is the end goal, I guess. Exdeath, in case you weren't aware. I think it tells you at the start.
I did know that, I guess.
It's just, it's just a guy's landed on an alien planet and he wants to get the fuck off.
Yeah.
That's the start.
It's basically Pikmin.
Yeah. It looks exactly like it too. Resident Evil podcast, everyone. Well, welcome. All right.
Yeah.
I missed some of Ryan's comments here on about Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something cool with the adaptive difficulty. Where the game becomes more difficult, the better you perform. I guess. I didn't really notice that. Maybe I'm just too good at the game.
Well, that's the kind of, I think, why I did it well, is because you don't really notice it. It kind of keeps things kind of balanced throughout. I guess my opinion is if you noticed it, you would be doing a bad job in a way.
Yeah. I can understand that point of view at least.
I particularly like the direction that the Resident Evil 2 remake went in, where it has the gameplay style of RE4, but the old kind of atmosphere, which I think is a great combination. Because that's one of the main things that stops people, I think, from playing the old games, is they're pretty clunky.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the Resident Evil 4 remake is one of the best remakes that's ever been done, really, because a lot of remakes always end up like screwing over the fans in some way. A lot of old fans really enjoy the remake, so we must have done something right.
Yeah, and I think I like it also because it's not a one-for-one remake. I mean, they completely changed the gameplay. I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about that game. It looks amazing. I mean, I was like stunned by the graphics. It also runs very well for how good it looks. Just really well done.
I mean, it's about time that Capcom did something right, because they've been, they've got a good track record lately of, especially Resident Evil 6. And,
yeah, they seem to be getting back on track in a lot of people's minds. One thing that's been strange for me with Capcom is that they seem to have really underutilized Mega Man for a long time. I can't tell why.
Mega Man strikes me, I've not played a Mega Man game, but I feel about it the same way I feel about Sonic, where it's like, it's hard for me. I have to literally remember that the old games were good, because when you see all the new games in, it's like, how are there still Sonic fans? Like, these games all suck. You know, and Mega Man is similar, I guess. Although I guess I don't know. Are the new ones bad? I don't.
Well, there aren't really any new ones to speak of. Like Sonic,
maybe that's the issue. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there was a bit of a period of really. I understand. Anyways, I haven't played it myself, but really crappy Mega Man games. Mega Man X, like 7 and 8 or something, they were kind of just a shit show where they kind of like went upgraded to 3D.
Oh yeah, I think I remember. I was never like massive on Mega Man, but I did understand like why people liked it a lot because it was.
It was a very iterative series back in the day, so they were Capcom were kind of pouring it out for a while. Now they've kind of just stopped. I guess maybe it just isn't as popular anymore.
It's not. There was that one like recent. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. It wasn't a proper Mega Man game.
Oh,
it was
Mighty
like
Number
indie
9,
game.
Yeah,
Mighty Number 9. It didn't go over too well.
That was like the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night to Mega Man.
Yeah, but Bloodstained actually, or I don't know.
I actually like that one. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, apparently the Mega Man one was garbage. Mighty Number 9, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played it, but that's what I've heard you.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play that Bloodstained because I always liked Castlevania.
Yeah, Symphony of the Night is one of my favorite games. So.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I've never played it.
I recommend
well, then you have to play it on.
I can emulate it, right? I don't have a whatever it's called, SNES, wasn't it?
PS1.
Yeah, PS.
Oh, PS. Well, okay. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, I should play it. I like Metroidvanias. I like Castlevania adjacent games.
I think
Hollow Knight, one of my favorite games.
Symphony of the Night had like a cool sort of RPG element to it as well, which I enjoy. Yeah, it was just fun. Really good game.
Cool. Have either of you guys played Hollow Knight?
Yeah.
I played the very start of it.
Okay.
I played more of it on the Switch, and I bought it again for Steam. I haven't really played much of it on Steam, but I've played a bit of it on my Switch, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that and Ori comes to mind when I think of recent Metroidvanias.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Ori as well. So I got to sort of like semi-autonomous research lab thing where I still have to load it with iron and copper, but otherwise it does its own job.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe I'll just try to get some belts to upgrade it to fully autonomous.
I think we need like I need to put one of them things in where Microsoft Sam speaks for the comments that are in the chat.
Yeah, that would actually be helpful.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just have to wait for Rain to be able to join voice chat because it kind of doesn't work when you have people talking and then like if it's a solo streamer talking to his chat that works, but it's difficult to be in a conversation and then as also responding to.
I guess we should have like somebody on rain duty where they have to go and read all his comments
and read his stuff. Yeah, that'll work. We just gotta remember. I keep forgetting that I should be looking at what he's saying as well. It's the host's job to be on comment duty.
That seems unfair. I already have to play the fucking game.
Yeah, agreed.
Which of the Silent Hill games have you played, Meco?
The first one, second, third, and I haven't actually fully completed the fourth one. I think I played like half an hour or something of it, but I've played the Shattered Memories and the Origins as well.
Oh yeah, I started Shattered Memories. I don't think I got too far into it though.
I think I watched playthroughs of some of those. But, oh, Raym is talking about Mega Man. Mega Man, there's 20XX, which is a spiritual successor. I don't think I've heard of that one.
No, I'm not
I think
familiar with that either.
Yeah, like I guess games like that come out these days end up being more, which is why we were talking about Metroidvanias. They end up being more in that style than truly like Mega Man successors. I think maybe people like those
Shovel
more.
Knight is probably the most Mega Man-esque of the like popular indie games.
That's fair. That's a good one.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. It looks good. I think I would like it.
I think you would. We can you can actually play that with a 2-player. So it's a candidate for co-op. Yeah, hint hint. What's that game Raym suggested? The one Hammer Dawners. Looks like a Castle Crasher knockoff.
Yeah, Castle Crashers, and it kind of reminds me of the old Goof Troop. I think one of his friends made it, and that's why.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool.
Well, we'll cancel that then. We won't play that.
We'll have to point out that his friend made it for the sake of full disclosure, I would say.
Right, yes.
Would essentially being paid, but not. He said it's not a hack and slash.
Yeah, just the art style is reminiscent of Castle Crashers, but it's actually more of like a full level-based scroller sort of thing, kind of similar to Binding of Isaac or something. I think.
I see. Well, Castle Crashers is good too. Yeah. Speaking of,
that's one of those games that came out of the Newgrounds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. It's the same guy who is the founder of Newgrounds, I think, his company anyway.
It's more influenced by Bomberman and Towerfall.
Yeah.
Bomberman's a game I used to enjoy. I thought that's always been fun.
I've never really played much of it, but it seems fun.
It's a true strategy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a mod for this, Mr. A, where the biomes, and you can change everything to be like snow and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It also changes the biters as well, so they can spit ice at you and stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, wonderful. So, making me even more annoying.
Yeah. Adds challenge. I know, Exdeath restarted this map. Restarted, I think, a couple times, because he spawned next to a biter base, and they basically were on his ass way too quick.
Yeah.
I was talking about how you and I had this similar experience where the first time we played with biters, which for you was like the first time you played at all, they kind of outscaled us a bit and got really annoying until we dealt with them.
Yeah, I stupidly got to a point where I couldn't do anything because I hadn't sorted them out earlier. So they got too evolved and just destroyed my base every time I walked away from it for 2 seconds. So I had to just fucking start again.
That was sort of what was happening to me. It was at the very beginning of the game. Like, they attacked before I had even finished researching logistics or the first thing. So I didn't have turrets. Like, I couldn't make turrets or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the luck of the RNG. Really.
Yeah, I had 2 bases very, very close to my starting resources, which made things hard.
Yeah, and then we were kind of discussing what we thought about the mechanic in general. I don't know if it's like the best way to add a challenge component to the game. I don't think it's inherently bad. I know some people get very annoyed by it, including me sometimes. I don't know how else you'd do it. Because you play something, like Dyson Sphere Program, where there's nothing. And it's still fun, but it is missing that particular type of challenge.
I think with Dyson,
Dyson's
Sphere Program, I think one thing I hope they do in the future is there's enemies when you invade other planets, so then you have to clear them out before you can start building.
Yeah, that'd be cool, and that works with kind of how the game intends for you to expand.
Yeah, I think that'd be good, because at the moment you can just go to any planet and just start building, whereas I think it'd be good if you had to prepare yourself before you go on there, because you've got like a big mecha suit, so there'd be no reason why you can't like upgrade it with weapons and stuff like that. But,
yeah, then it's just Supreme Commander, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, with this, I don't mind the biters because it does add the challenge to it. It doesn't just feel like because as well with this, there's a lot of technology you have to upgrade to make better weapons, and all that just seems to be pointless if you just put on like peaceful mode or something.
Yeah. That's true. That part of the game is literally pointless if you're not having biters on.
And I think there are some fun weapons you can make, like the spider thing and lasers and all that. So there's a lot of incentive to have biters on, so that you can have all this really cool technology.
Yeah,
but I do understand that it can get annoying, especially like I said, because I have been victim to being stuck in this position where I can't even progress any further because the biters are just ruining everything.
Right. That's how I feel. Is like when they become annoying, I want to go and turn them off. But then when I start a new game, I think it's best to start with them on and just deal with it. I think it's overall it's a good mechanic for the game.
I think that I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah. And it doesn't add, like, it gets really annoying if you're not doing a good job of protecting yourself as you expand. But if you do that, it's not that tedious to just build some turrets at your outposts and the biters become a non-issue. So,
I think, I mean, it's just working out where they'll come from as well. Because sometimes you don't have to cover your entire base with it. You just have to put, if you know they're coming from, like, a certain direction, just set that up. For a while, and you should be fine.
And then later you get artillery, and then you can clear out anything near you just kind of automatically, and that's kind of it.
Well, a few times I just end up getting my little buggy. And
it's true. I guess I wouldn't say replace your turrets with only artillery, but it makes the attacks less threatening when you clear out most of their bases near you.
And plus, like, when you get the logistics drones and that, they can fix everything up for you once everything's been done anyway, so that helps. I've got it on my, one that I've been working on for a while now. I've got it so that if it managed to destroy too much, my logistics drones just go and fix it up, so I literally don't have to do anything. I can just be away from base for fucking hours and come back and everything's still as it was before I left.
That'd be nice.
Whereas I think in Satisfactory, I think the enemies on that are just fucking stupid and they really need to rework them.
I think I like the...
What?
Sorry, what were you saying?
Are they too powerful?
No, they're just pointless. I just don't see the point of them. There's different. They might as well just done a DSP and just not put them in at all because they're that fucking pointless.
Well, I was going to say I disagree a bit because the enemies, the way that Satisfactory wants to increase your challenges by forcing you to expand to bring in more ore, which Factorio has too, and the enemies basically kind of guard the ore.
Well, I really can't comment because I haven't played it.
Streams crashed for me.
I think my internet might have just cut out or something for a minute. Yeah, because I was disconnected from the voice chat as well. Let me see.
Yeah, I think that's my... Plus as well, I've had so many them big, giant, looking tall things I always ended up getting stuck in my factory, and that's been annoying.
Streamlabs says it's still going for me, but it looks like it's crashed to me as well, so I will just restart it.
Okay.
That should be fine. We were just talking about League of Legends.
Uh-oh.
I was just talking about how brilliant that game is and how lovely the community is. I think like League has some of like the nicest people I've ever met on game.
I agree. Yeah.
It's like the nicest community. I've never had any trouble with them. Everybody's always helpful, you know. I've never been told to kill myself. You know, it's just really, really friendly community.
I've been told to kill myself, but by Meco, not by anybody on League of Legends.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's not true. Go on now, stop lying. That's not in game. That's just in general. That's
he probably didn't mean it, but he did tell me to kill himself. Oh, you know what? I just realized that this was like a note we could have made on the last stream. Is that we had the intention at one point to use our real names, but I think because we were so used to using like screen names, we all just forgot.
Yes, that's true. That was my idea, and I have also abandoned it. Really, my suggestion was to do that for the podcast if we're recording that. It's just like, at least introduce ourselves, because literally listening to Outside the Wall, it just felt out of place for, like, Wally and Ram sound like good, like, nicknames, but then Exdeath is, like, obviously a screen name.
Yeah.
It just sounded a little jarring, but that's just me personally. It doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah,
I don't like that much anyway.
It wasn't something that it occurred to me to think about, but I can see your point. Basically.
I know it'd be difficult for me to not refer to Exdeath as Logie Bear. That's
well, no one's stopping it.
As long as you sometimes just refer to me with my actual name, like, as long as it's not every single time that it's Logie Bear, I can accept it.
I can't make any promises. And Raim says, should we call you by your name, Meco? Yeah, sure. I'm not embarrassed by my name. It's just
Meco's his name.
Meco is my name. Oh, it's Nate actually. It's Nate. Everybody just keeps calling Meco, which is weird.
Right. Oh, we have welcome to new people. I'm sure some of at least are Raim's friends. Yes. We got 7 viewers now.
Welcome, Raim's friend. This is Factorio. I was peer pressured into playing it.
At gunpoint. You will all yourselves by playing a game you clearly have no interest in. Can't refund it now, though.
No, well, maybe I can. Maybe I can write to Steam and say, my friends forced me to play this at gunpoint, I don't want it anymore. It traumatizes me to see it in my Steam library.
Is there a way you can check how many games you've refunded? Because I want to see Mr. A's for real. See how many is.
Yeah. If you go into your account, let me check. I can probably check.
I bet you. I bet I barely refunded anything compared to.
Well, because I thought that the refund system. Well, it is. The refund system is their replacement for having decent sales. While simultaneously barely meeting minimum requirements in some countries for law refund or consumer rights laws or something. And I thought they were good old beneficent Valve helping people out by letting them refund. But yeah, obviously it's just they're doing the bare minimum and bitching at you if you try to actually use their system. The context of this for those listening is I got Steam warned me I was refunding too many games. And I was I literally thought that was what I was supposed to do because your sales suck ass now. So that's how you try out games. Nope, whatever. I'm not mad. Okay.
Sound a little mad.
I mean, I can go back. Okay, let's see. So the first game I ever refunded. I can see all of them.
And I refunded. I think it might be the only other one might be Satisfactory.
Okay.
It could be wrong.
Okay, 1, 2.
The fact that you found 2 so quickly says something, because I've only found 1 so far. The first game I ever bought on Steam was Terraria.
I think for me it was Civilization 5.
Yeah, I found 2 so far, and that's it. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, you're like a little baby.
He's going to crack his knuckles now and show me how it's done.
I'm counting.
24, 25.
I'm at 23. Yeah.
And that's just in the first month.
Still going. 30.
Jesus.
That is quite a few. Do you guys have any recommendations for early science choices? Because I'm looking at this screen and I have no idea what I want.
I'd get the logistics personally themselves. Stuff like the lights aren't really necessary.
No, the lights seem pretty pointless to me. Okay, I'll go for logistics for now.
I counted 60, not counting the satisfactory refund that Exdeath was. That was the gift to Exdeath, so that doesn't count. And there's a few that are DLC, but they're part of the same purchase, but technically, whatever. But
the only one I didn't count was Among Us, because I did originally refund it, because at the point nobody was playing it, so I thought, well, I can't do that. Then I ended up buying it again anyway.
Oh, true. There are some games that I bought back after changing my mind,
That's
so I guess that would
drop my number. Iron as well.
Okay, so that would drop my number to maybe like 54 or something. Well, and actually, when they bitched at me, it wasn't that I had like refunded too many games, but I refunded too many games in a short time period.
Okay.
Like, this system is not in place for you to try games. It's like, what the
Yeah, I
fuck is
think
in place for
last
that?
game I refunded was
Whatever.
Intruders or whatever it's called, because I just didn't have fun with it, and I weren't willing to pay.
I did refund that as well.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with that game. What's it about?
It's just old Splinter Cell. If you've ever played Splinter Cell like 2 or 3, they had a multiplayer mode where it was spies versus mercs. Where like one group would be like a super sneaky and have like traps they could set up in ways to like stun the enemy team, and they'd go like steal things or hack into computers and stuff. And the enemy team would play like a classic shooter where they had guns and they'd shoot the sneaky people if they'd find them. That's what Intruders is. It's like just recently got patched or came out of early access or something. I don't know why there was a big sale, but it looked cool because I used to enjoy the old Splinter Cell. But yeah, I played it, and I wasn't, when I mentioned it to Meco, I wasn't like recommending it. I was just like, what do you think? But yeah, the community honestly seemed kind of toxic, which I know you mentioned, Meco. And the game was fun, but I was like, I'm not going to play this instead of other games that I already barely had time for. So
also, because I think if you press Tab or Shift, I can't remember one of them, you can actually see what's being produced a lot easier, so you don't have to like hover all over them.
Isn't it? I think it's Alt.
Is it Alt?
It's definitely not Shift or Tab.
Maybe. Yeah, try Alt.
Not doing anything either, as far as I can tell. Okay, yeah, you're right. It shows icons of everything. I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
I always just have it on that so I can see easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's no need to turn that off.
Yeah, that Intruders game, I think, I think I played like a couple of matches of it, but I hated it weren't just so much the community as well, it was just everything felt really fucking sloppy considering it's been in development for like 5 years or something.
Yeah, that's something I also didn't like, because I couldn't tell, like, I think they're going for a certain art style, but it didn't look good enough to where I couldn't look at it and just feel like, oh, these graphics just aren't that good.
It wasn't even the graphics part of it, it was just the actual gameplay just consisted of everybody just running around, they were like, this is trying to be the Splinter Cell game, but everybody was running around and treating it like it's Call of Duty or something. So
that's fair. I absolutely did not get the same like feeling from playing the old Splinter Cell games. So that's I mentioned that because that's what it most reminds me of, and I think it's probably an inspiration, but it did not feel quite that way. So I feel great. But anyway, yeah, I also refunded that, and then usually I just buy a game or a game's on sale, or I'll buy it. And I'm like, I can't tell from the videos if I'll like it because it's really hard to tell. So I'll play it for a bit, and I don't like it, I'll refund it. I don't know why that's an issue for Steam, but who cares? I'll take it easy. They don't revoke my account or whatever.
I think the only thing I notice that Steam doesn't like you doing is when people refund a game and then buy it again on sale, like they've bought it like a day earlier and then realised it's on sale and refunded it. They don't like that. They don't usually. Well,
it's interesting you mentioned that, because I've heard that actually if you contact support and ask them to retroactively apply a sale because you bought it like one day before, they actually will do that. So, I mean, I've never tried that, so maybe I've been lied to, but I thought they were okay with that. Because that is shitty. Like, if you don't know a sale is coming and it just happens the next day, it's like, oh, that sucks. That's something that, I mean, just in general, the principle of the thing, like if your Steam account gets revoked, you just lose all the games you bought. And like, I know that's, it's legal, it's in the terms and conditions, whatever the fuck, but that's kind of where a lot of things are now. Like, you barely own anything. Everything's considered a service, at least as far as software goes. It's just been licensed to you.
That's the one thing I hate about Steam, though, is that you never really feel like you're owning your game because it's all you have to connect online and.
Yes, there's very few games that that you can play without Steam running. Actually, Paradox games like Europa and Crusader Kings will not force Steam to start in the background, but most games will. Yeah.
A lot of people have a preference for good old games because it doesn't have as much DRM.
It doesn't have any DRM. Yeah, I 100% agree.
That's why GOG comes in.
That's what I do. I do prefer them, and it's not like Steam used to be the king because they had big sales, but that's not even. They don't have better sales than anybody else now. So
that's why fucking Epic Games are slowly getting bigger over time. So
right, yeah. I mean, it's
not only do they seem to have better sales, but they seem to be stealing all the good games as well.
Yeah, exclusivity deals. That's so like, I don't know. It doesn't even matter what I think because it's just like companies slap fighting each other. I know some people think that's unethical or really annoyed. I do find it annoying when a game is Epic exclusive, but then it's like, oh well, but then Steam has a monopoly. It's like, I don't care. Like, yeah, both sides are right, I guess. And in the end, the consumer suffers no matter what. So, whatever.
Yeah, we're the only suckers in this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we lost 2 members from me bitching about Steam game refunds. Lost 2 viewers.
They've seen how boring this game is now, and they're stopping.
It is the kind of thing, like, I guess people who I don't watch Factorio streams, but I've seen a few videos, and it's usually like rogue players like explaining mechanics or trying like weird shit.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know how interesting it is to watch a new player go through it. Although, I mean, of course, I'm having a good time just chatting, but yeah, for a viewer, I don't know.
I don't know. We've listed it as Factorio, so yeah, there would be a Factorio player that'll be watching this.
That's true. Maybe people did come from Omori and so that it wasn't. So.
That one viewer who was really looking forward to his next Omori streams and now been blocked by Factorio.
Yes, I'm very sorry. We'll be doing Omori in 2 days or something like that, though.
No, yep, it's I'm looking forward to it personally.
Yes, so am
I. And then I know Ray asked if we could do SWAT in the 3rd week of March, I think, but then I'm gonna leave for like 3 weeks, so probably just hold off until I get back. It's like that way we don't start it and then.
Soon you'll be like, oh, I'm going to have to go away for another few weeks because I've got a kid. Never like, yeah, we'll get it, Mr. A, you're leaving us.
I think we'll get bored of this well before then. That's my prediction. We need more people to join. I know Wally might be interested in Factorio. He probably still thinks we're streaming no more, although we did post the schedule, so
yeah,
he has no excuse.
I think he's just quite busy these days. He's got a girlfriend too. Yeah. He's doing kind of the same thing as you.
I guess maintain a relationship.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, right.
Having an actual life outside of the internet.
Fuck that. That's what loses that shit.
Yeah.
I'm like that kid that's every time Kaoru comes in to ask me what I want. Get out! I'm playing Factorio.
Yeah. Fuck out of my room, Mom. Yeah.
I'm getting angry at 14-year-olds on League of Legends.
Yeah.
To be fair, we've had some inspiring stories in League of Legends. Like we met a nice Canadian guy not too long ago.
No, yeah.
There was one game we had.
It wasn't Exdeath, so
yeah,
it was strange to actually meet a Canadian that is no jerk. No offense to Canadians, obviously.
Yeah, League. I honestly, I know like it has a reputation, but I rarely. I don't know. Most people I talk to, I have neutral feelings about. There, I don't really talk to people that much. I'm playing with you guys, so.
Yeah, it fucking sucks because like they were on the European ones. I was talking to this guy and I thought it actually seemed fine. We were having a laugh while playing it, and when we were losing, it was kind of fun because we were just kind of taking the piss. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got to go to school now." I'm like, "Fuck." I feel so fucking old.
Yeah. Oh man.
So awkward because you just think, "Oh, this is I'm like nearly 30 now," and then I'm like thinking I'm the only people I find alright on there, like fucking kids.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just a fairly young player base in general.
It's because our ranks are bad, so we can only play with children.
That's probably a factor as well, yes.
I'd be surprised that you say that, but I bet most of the fucking best players in there are like...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember being way better at video games when I was younger, so...
I know some of the, like, straight-up pro players are teenagers. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. So I see you've got a nice little base set up now.
I guess so, yeah, it's coming along.
Getting there, yeah, nice.
I do love, like, beginner things, because it's just like Spaghetti Junction in there. Like, the way I like this when I first set mine up is that there were just fucking bells going everywhere. There were no sort of order. They were just kind of like...
Yeah,
I'm kind of
I honestly prefer this. Like, people set up different, like, the main bus system and all that, and I feel like, yeah, it's organized, but it takes so much setup where you get to, like, anything fun. Where I think if I were to play a new game, I would also just do a spaghetti base.
Yeah,
I think it's fun. Like Dyson Sphere program also kind of encourages that by making main buses obsolete once you get logistics. You get logistics way earlier than in Factorio, basically. So, and yeah, it's another benefit of a spaghetti base is like the main bus does become. It can become obsolete once you get bots, the logistics bots that just carry resources around. You don't really need belts anymore if you don't want them. I still use them. But...
I think with logistics, so it's the speed of them. For a while, you have to spend most of the time upgrading that, because otherwise it takes way too long. I see what you're trying to do there, but you're gonna have trouble because that's not going to be able to catch you up. Thing, so you might have to make a splitter.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not backseat gaming.
Fuck you.
I specifically said when I joined, I was like, I'm going to do my best not to backseat game because I think it's more fun if you do it on your own.
I never agreed to that. So.
I did give him a couple tips on generator or steam turbine layout, and
which I ignored.
Yes, but
that's
fine.
Two for each boiler type thing. It's just
yeah, exactly. Two.
Yeah.
That's the ratio. Other than that, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I know I'm not doing this quite right. The problem is I need to get iron plates over to here, and it's not gonna work, basically.
You just need a splitter to even it out, that's all. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, splitter.
I have never used the splitter before, so just...
We should actually include Minecraft as part of the stream if we go back to that. We have to. We promised Nav. I think it'd be fun. I don't know how long it'll last, but I enjoyed playing it. It'd be cool to start on a map that isn't like broken because we kind of broke.
Well, we need to start on a map where Mario and Nav aren't playing, and then we'll be fine because those two just speed through it, and there's nothing to do.
I don't mind Nav. He made everything very, very convenient.
That's one thing that I would observe is the sort of skill differentiation because I had no idea how to do really anything on Minecraft.
Yeah. Like, I have no interest in doing anything that Nav set up, but I'm glad he set it up, so I have no problem with it. It's not like he, took away the best part of the game from me doing it. It's like, no, I don't want any part of this. But I'm very happy it's here. For those not aware, it was setting up like a trading hub with all the villagers and all this stuff. I just want to build.
We didn't have to do anything. There were no sort of sense of progression because everything was already done for us. So we were just like, okay.
So I liked it, but it sounds like Meco didn't.
I like a challenge.
Yeah. All right. Challenges. The excursions into the Nether. I found that was a good challenge that I enjoyed.
I'm just not a fan of. I've never been a fan of things being handed to you in games because I just feel like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm actually playing it. I'm just kind of.
I guess, but I guess if you're, I don't know, like, how do you, if you're playing with other people, you know, it's natural to kind of split up tasks. So you kind of have to just play alone if you want to do everything.
No, but what I mean is like the way that Nav, no offense to Nav, obviously, but the way that he set everything up, it for one, it was using like an exploit of the game to do all that. It wasn't something. It's not an actual function in the game. It's not what it was intended. I mean, it's perhaps things inside villages, inside boxes, so they couldn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I don't know. To me, it just kind of.
You found it unethical to treat the villagers that way.
Yeah.
That's fair. I didn't
really
mind this.
It really pissed me off. Fucking villagers, right? Guy, and you know,
yeah.
Felt that we're being treated unfairly. Listen, I'm not a fan of exploits. Okay, I don't like exploiting children. I don't like exploiting video game glitches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're both equal to me. They both hurt people in the end.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we'll just cut here now before I start going on a big rant now. Like, human trafficking and completely irrelevant topic.
Yeah, you're gonna get the channel taken down.
I have long since woken up, so my brain isn't functioning properly. That's my excuse.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Yeah.
Stop me, Mr. A.
Okay.
Sorry, I know what your true feels are.
It is what I do. I don't have much to say.
One of your like linguistic tropes that I've noticed is that you never say like I'm gonna leave. You always say I'm gonna hop off.
Yes, that's true. Does that bother you?
No.
Say I'm gonna leave?
No, not really.
I have a few things that I do that I pick up. If I'm like really into a conversation or like a debate, I'll say listen before like every sentence. Like listen, or and I say like I know to do that.
So that's how we know you're engaged, is if you're saying listen a lot.
That's true, exactly. Or maybe I'm not engaged with what you're saying. I just really want you to hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's something I mean.
I think one of my tropes is you can't understand the word I'm saying 99.9% of the time, so...
They're usually fine. Sometimes I don't know if you mumble or if I'm just like, I don't know, but if I'm like paying attention to something else and sometimes like certain things you say, I'm like, say it again. But normally you're good.
Kaoru was pointing that out on one of the streams, so I can't understand the word you're saying because you're mumbling again. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I talk too fast sometimes, so let me know if I do that. But yeah, I have to get used to accents. But then once I do, I'm good. Like when I hadn't really talked to a lot of like Indian people before I went to university, and so I had to get used to kind of the Indian accent. But once I did, I have no difficulty understanding now. It's just something to get used to. People say that with my parents too. Sorry.
You understand who's he? Because I know he's not Indian, but
Pakistani accent I have no issue with. Or I wouldn't say no issue, I guess, but I don't think I do. And then like people said about my parents. My parents both have Russian accents, and they're like, "What are they saying?" And I'm like, "It's so obvious." But yeah, I understand it. It takes some getting used to. I'm the same way. But once I know how someone talks, I find that it's
I kind of wish you had a
easy.
Russian accent. It'd make things.
Yeah, I never did. I learned English in England though, so I had a British accent until I was like 6.
I cannot imagine that. I mean, I want to, but I just can't.
I don't know what whatever sub accent it was.
Yeah, I wish you had a Russian accent. You should try to develop a Russian accent.
Okay, I'll work on it. I can imitate my dad probably.
Yeah,
I have to like listen to him.
Exclusive.
No, I gotta practice. This ain't a Mr. A voice acting stream. Not yet.
It can be. I mean, Factorio is really boring. We could do something more fun.
Well, we should. I was suggesting we read out all the voice lines in Omori. So we can do that first.
Okay, so first we have to decide which characters will be voiced by which people. So I'll volunteer to do Sunny and Omori.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I think Omori is definitely suited to Exdeath, but
we bring Kaoru on to do one of the female characters' names. I forgot already. Aubrey, yeah. And then pick a character to be English, and then that'll be Meco.
Well, Kel and Hiro.
Northern English.
Kel and Hiro are brothers, so they have to have the same accent. So
okay, I guess I could do both of them, and then.
No, you should do one in your normal voice, and then the other in a Russian accent.
Okay, sure.
Well, my joke with Sunny and Omori is that they're actually silent; they don't say any lines. So
you're right.
To do them, I was just excusing myself from doing any work.
That's true. You have to make anime sound effects, you know.
Well, actually, there is one point at the game when Omori speaks.
Oh, okay.
That's like right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I was looking at watching a video for the voice actors for League of Legends, and there's actually some pretty really big names on there. I didn't know Matthew Mercer does quite a few voices on there as well.
There's Patrick Warburton, who does a couple of characters. I don't know if he's famous, but he's in a lot of movies.
Yeah. I mean, I have a good friend who's a voice actor, and the way he describes it is it doesn't sound too hard. You bring them in for a day for some voice lines. Like a big project, like if you're voicing a main character in a game is one thing, but doing some lines for a MOBA character or a skin, like my friend gets gigs like that all the time. And it's just like, you know, if their voice is appropriate and they're available, it's be quick. So.
How do you even get into that though? I mean, do you just send your voice off to agencies and see if anybody likes it or what?
Yeah. That's a good question. I really asked them. That's what it sounds like. Is you like work with an agent, and do a lot of auditions if people get an idea of what you can and can't do. The majority of voice work is done just using your regular voice. You just have to, it's voice acting, right? So it's not about doing like funny voices necessarily. It's about being able to, evoke a character even with just regular voice or just some slight variation. And then big money also comes from commercials where you're just talking, so,
I think
that's all for regular voice.
I watched a video on Tara Strong on about it because she was saying like a lot of people come up to her and just doing stupid voices and saying like, oh look, I can voice act and that. She said that's well and good, but you've got to maintain that for like, several hours a day, and whether or not you can actually do that. Is important. It's all right being able to do a really cute, quirky voice, but if you can't do that consistently, it's no good.
Consistently and evoke emotions and actually play a character as well. It's one thing just to say a line in a funny voice, right? That's not. Yeah. Nobody's gonna pay for that.
That's only the start.
Yeah. Any actor, any good actor, not about any, but a lot of actors can do impressions, and it's easy. You just pick a trait or just an aspect of a voice and do it, right? That's an easy thing to do. That's not why they're famous actors. or easy for them, I guess. I don't not to make anyone feel bad if you can't do impressions.
Well, let's hear
I
you.
can't.
Do an impression of Meco, Mr. Ray. Show us how it's done.
No, I can't. I have to practice to do his accent.
No, I know you.
Okay, so I see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You can pick up on certain parts of his like verbal. Here, like you pronounce the TH sound
I could.
like an
I just have to
X,
mumble.
Like, that's
and,
the start of it.
You say oats.
He doesn't say Exdeath. He says Exdeath.
Exdeath, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't say my THs.
One of the ones I've noticed with Rain is that he tends to stretch out. He doesn't always do this, but he tends to stretch out the word "and," so it's like "and."
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's yeah, maybe it's just unnatural sound to make if you're not American. The American ass sound is really obnoxious.
You're also getting Rame's lip smacking every time.
Yeah, he does do that quite frequently.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. Meco pointed it out to me the other day, and I like going back and noticed editing the outside the wall, and I noticed it. He does do it a lot. Once
it's pointed out, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because like it's just really off. If you've got like really sensitive ears, I can't imagine that's very pleasant because it's just like every 2 seconds it's just a really fucking loud click. No offense, Graham. You've got a fine voice, I'm sure.
Graham says ha 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 ha.
Hey,
that's true. Braces will make you sound. I remember when I got them and I had to like relearn how to say the letter E because I got the like palate separator thing and I like totally blocked my tongue from being able to get in the right position. It was really annoying. I hated braces.
I'm British, so we don't have those over
here. Yeah, you don't have a single orthodontist.
We need to separate his teeth or straighten them, we just get a punch in the face. That's what
yeah, there you go. Go to a pub and round somebody up. I'll say if I'm drunk, my I do have a very slight Russian accent, and it comes out more from drinking. So maybe I'll get drunk on stream one day, then you can hear it.
That makes sense.
You turn Russian when you drink.
Yeah, exactly. It brings it out as is appropriate, I suppose.
Yeah, I just put on an accent, a more well-spoken accent when I'm in interviews. That's I managed to pronounce my THs better when I'm in interviews.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just like Exdeath.
Yeah.
Exdeath. Yeah.
Which makes it sound like I used to be deaf, but not anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Got better.
It should be true. I don't know you that well, you know.
You cured your illness, and now you can hear again.
It was a miracle. The way it worked was that I had to strain so much to understand what the fuck Meco was saying, that I just got better at hearing over time.
Yeah, and then me and Rain, and then all
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I was about to say probably most people on AFT have some kind of accent, but that's not probably not true.
Well, I suppose
most of us are American or Canadian. The Canadian accent, I don't count it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when you really think about it, everybody has an accent. It's just...
That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's a good point. I meant a non-American accent, which is what I consider standard because that's how I talk.
My accent, it's weird because I've probably got one of the more well-spoken accents out from where I'm from. It's like, if you had like some of my friends, I use TH to say friends. If you had some of my friends, for example, they say stuff like, what's that on about, and stuff like, you would not understand the word that they're saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I also, if I'm speaking to people online especially, I'll slow down and try to enunciate more, because if I'm just talking to friends, I'll mumble and like skip like half a word, and I don't know how anybody understands me, but I guess they're used to it.
Me granddad actually talks like that. Is very sort of like what's they doing and stuff, and it's really fucking hard to make out what they're on about.
Yeah, I hope people get used to how I talk. I just talk really fast, and that's how it comes out. Is I'll just skip over sounds when I'm speaking, but I try to enunciate. Especially through a microphone, it can be hard to. And for people who don't talk to me often.
Yeah, I don't know. I find you pretty easy to understand. I think Rain's the hardest.
And
the people on AFT Meco, I guess, would be second. Although I don't think I've ever had too much trouble understanding Meco.
I think for me it'd have to be Uzi next. And
yes. I forgot about him.
I find him quite difficult at times. But that's just because of how strong his accent is. That's all. Rain,
I mean, Rain too. They have strong accents, which I don't think I have any issue understanding either of them. But I can understand they have the strongest accent. Yeah.
English is not Rain's first language, so that's surprising.
Yeah, I mean that's nothing. I'm not saying anything bad or anything. Hyper as well has an accent.
Yeah, although compared to Uzi's is much less thick.
I was going to say, Hyper I can understand really well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Hyper hasn't picked up more of an Australian accent. Yeah.
That'd be funny. I want to hear Australian Hyper.
Yeah. Maybe he can fake one. He's watching, he's just not.
I just noticed.
Alright, so how's your base coming along here?
We're
not talking about the game much.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to reconstruct my base so I can make the logistics science packs automated in an efficient manner.
Okay.
Because I've got this belt that's on the opposite side for both the belts and the inserters that you have to use for that. So.
One thing that people often suggest is you set up like a bootstrap base for early science and getting belts and loaders made automatically. And then you just move on and don't even rebuild it. Just start a new base that is more well organized now that you have the equipment.
Yeah, I can see
that's an option too.
Merit of that. That is the part that makes me want to stop playing these types of games, is when I notice that I'll have to reconstitute my entire base.
Yeah, I get that, but also is it's a good stopping point because I'm not motivated to do that. I understand.
Yeah, basically, I think that's kind of what's stopped me playing more of both Rimworld and Prison Architect.
Mm.
I think in this case, I'm just going to get lazy and I'm just going to make another set of machines to make those ingredients and set that up for the logistics science pack.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got a good starting area there, though, because you've got a lot of trees, which will make the buyers hard to get to.
Yeah, I mean, this is much better than the starting area I had last time, that's for sure.
Sure.
We've got some achievements from Twitch.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah?
Streamed 2 unique games in the last 30 days.
Very nice. Wow.
Streamed for more than 4 hours in the last 30 days.
I'm going to actually go ahead and report the podcast for streaming too many games. Let's see.
You could report us for streaming one game and claiming that it's another one.
Claiming it's another one, yeah.
And to become a partner, we need to stream for at least 25 hours overall.
Okay. That's easy.
There.
Not that I'm looking to be a partner, but...
Stream on 12 different days, and we've only done 1 so far.
We'll get to it.
And we need an average of 75 viewers. And we've got an average of 4.
That's going to be the tricky part then.
So I'm afraid you're going to have to do some face cams, Exdeath. And
you think that's what's going to get it?
Show a bit of booty, and we should get us off.
I don't personally mind face camming, but I'm not going to do it if nobody else is.
I tend to prefer watching streams that do not use the face cam.
Really? Okay. It depends. If it's not obtrusive, I don't mind it. It can be helpful to get someone's facial expressions, but also it doesn't really matter that much. So.
Yeah, I think it detracts from the game to some extent, which is what the focus should be on. That's my inclination, anyways.
I do mean, nobody's going to be looking at your face that much, Exdeath. Jesus, I don't want to distract people with my beauty.
That's what he's saying.
Yes. You're right. You read through that subtext very masterfully.
I just don't want to because 90% of my fucking face is beard at the moment, so it won't be.
That gets views, man. All the best streamers have big beards.
Yeah, I might have to shave it a bit for this interview, which is kind of like I don't know if I can go through with it. I might just have to cancel the interview.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I keep my beard? Well, no, not really. Well, sorry. Bye. Although I do need a haircut. That's one thing I do need.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I was going to grow it out, but because I'm receding, it kind of keeps going weird. So I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I probably need a haircut sometime soon as well. I'm kind of getting to the point where I have a mullet.
Yeah, I need one before my wedding probably, but it's a trim. We'll trim up. Nothing too drastic. I usually end up getting it cut too short. Like, I think I look better with a little bit more, like, medium length hair.
No, I tell you what it is. It's fucking barbers. You'll give them a specific idea of what you want, and they'll just go, I think this looks better. It's like, no, that's not what I asked for that.
Oh, really? I never had that happen. You've seen some shitty barbers, man.
Yeah.
I'll show them a picture, and they're like, alright.
And then afro.
I posted, like, I haven't had the same hair for, like, my whole life, but I did post a picture of that, like, one time. I got a different kind of haircut. So that's, like, the two haircuts I've ever had, I guess, basically. Otherwise, I don't know how to describe it. I just let my hair grow a bit. Yeah. Nothing fancy.
I used to have really long hair at one point. Some years back. And then, obviously, as I say, I was receding a bit, so it looked stupid, so I just got to move it.
Yeah. I think I overall prefer shorter hair on guys.
Okay, well, I wasn't doing it for you. So.
Maybe you should have.
Right, yeah. That's rude.
What would Exdeath want?
Yeah. Kind of like what would Jesus do, but what would Exdeath want?
Just slap another engine on the back of that one. Trust me, no pro.
I didn't realize you could do it in the back. That was the only thing.
No. I mean, to the back of the other engine.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that either.
That whatever you're doing now, no, stop. The engine that you just placed, get rid of it and put it next to the.
That's already happened. Yes, the stream delay is hurting me.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could link two engines
Just
together
getting
like
agitated.
It's fucking.
I mean, it would have been equally as efficient for the time being, but whatever.
No, it has to be right.
Yes. I forgot about the delay because I've got sound off on the stream since there's not really much sound.
Oh, yeah.
Giving him abuse before while he's doing it. So.
I'm used to it, don't worry.
Oh, poor Exdeath. He sounded so sad. I'm used to
It's your fault. You made him sad.
He's going to put the stream.
Yeah.
Go back to outside the wall.
Yeah. Rain will never abuse you.
No, you wouldn't do that. He's far too loving. That's his weakness.
Oh, Wally gave Parasite a 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, wow, that's high praise from Wally. He's picky.
Same score he gave to Mother. So there's consistency for him and Bong Joon-ho.
That's good. Good to be consistent.
I mean, he is an excellent director, so it's
Yeah, I liked Mother. I thought it was good.
I would have liked.
You probably like most of his films, to be honest with you, because they've all got that same sort of bittersweet feel to them. But with the very sort of, well, I wouldn't even say subtle, but there's a thing of, the upper class and the lower class.
Yeah, I would not have called that subtle as it was done in Mother.
But that's just Korean films in general. They're just all fucking miserable and too real.
That's what Russian ones are like too.
Mm-hmm.
It does only seem to be like American films where it's just like everything's happy and everybody has a happy ending.
Hey, American yeah, I know. I find it annoying when, like the ending of a movie is changed to force a happy ending. That happened with, famous example is, I Am Legend, right?
Yeah, fucking I hate that.
And then, what is it? I forget what it's called. I'll think of it. It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a very common situation with American films, as a matter of fact. And I think it was even more common back in the day, like, very golden age of Hollywood, as it's called. It was really, like, producer-driven.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
The directors kind of had to start pushing back, I think, to get a little bit more control.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, it's the same way as I always say about, like, I think we've been over this before, but like American comedies compared to like British comedies. Where American comedies have always got this thing where everybody has to be victorious in the end, and everybody has to, there has to be some sort of feel good sense to it. Whereas like with British comedies, just everything's just grim and bitter, and life sucks, but you get through it, kind of thing. It's the comparison with the American office to the US. The American office to the UK office is just the American one's very sort of like there's no. I don't know. There's bad characters in it, like horrible characters that you're not supposed to like, but it's not in the same vein as the UK one is, where it's like the horrible people. Whereas on the American one, they're just kind of like dickheads. They'll just like, they're funny, but they're kind of, you're not supposed to like. It's hard to explain really, without actually. I don't know if you've both watched the US and.
I've never watched either version really.
Same. So, but I believe you. Lauren is obsessed with The Office. She's listening to these podcasts that are like going into like the whole history of the show and all this stuff, and it's like. I don't know, like, I mean, it's fine, whatever, if it interests you, but it's like somebody wrote this episode, people acted in it, and that's the history. Like, what else is there? It's like, oh, we were inspired by this event. Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand if you can get any more depth out of something that is basically I won't say a copy, obviously, but a watered down version of the original.
Well, I think that I would say that the first season was like, from what I've heard, again, I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, the first season is like that, but then it really does become its own show. Whether you like it or not, I wouldn't say it stays as a knockoff. But it definitely starts that way. There are a lot of American shows that like try to rip off British shows. They all like fail miserably because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't capture the right kind of humor. I think The Office is a fluke, like the fact that it did well.
To be fair, though, it's not just a case of. I also think the other way around. If it's intended for an American audience, it's like I said before, but it's like Impractical Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think the British one that they made was terrible because it didn't have the same. The people who were involved weren't friends. Like the American one, obviously they're all good friends, and that's why they started it. And you can tell the chemistry. You can feel the chemistry between them and that thing, and it's more funny for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
On the British one, it was just a bunch of nobodies who got together to do pranks on the public, and it weren't the same. It was kind of, you could watch that shit on YouTube, and it's that same type of shit on YouTube where they go, it's just a prank, bro. It would be the equivalent of that.
Mm-hmm.
But they called it Impractical Jokers, and they're like, no, this is terrible. Just leave it to the American. No, Exdeath, no.
Oh, it's alright. He's fine. I guess when you're putting these episodes together, you should probably that doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say you should shift the audio so it actually matches up with the stream because we have a delay. But then whenever we acknowledge the delay, you'd have to just cut that out, I guess.
Yeah, that would be painstaking. I guess that's my main objection to it.
Yeah.
It could do that, yeah. With Omori, I was sort of trying to make a conscious effort to wait a few seconds before I commented on specific things so that like you guys would be more in sync with what I was saying, but then that might make it look a little weird when somebody's like watching the video back.
Right. Yeah. Either way, somebody is getting screwed over here. Out of respect for our many viewers, we'll work with a delay. We'll deal with it.
It's not as bad as it was before. It was like a fucking 10-second delay last time.
Now we're on low latency. Yeah. We're on the shitty connection mode. So sometimes the stream goes blurry, but at least we're not too far off.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like that for the final stream. It's just for us. We don't matter.
Yeah.
It's the two viewers that we've got, the Raymond and Hyper and that.
Mm-hmm.
Ram, Hyper, and maybe one or two of Ram's friends.
Yeah. We're just watching it because I think it's Ram because he's told them he's playing.
That's the way to do it.
Maybe I could do a Ram impression. I'm sure it'd be horrible. Try and trick her. And what I'm doing now is chopping down trees.
That sounded nothing.
Well, he said it would be terrible, so there you go. That's what you get.
And
you have to shriek with laughter periodically.
Yes, you have to chuckle quite a lot to pull off a Ram impression. That's true.
Yes, many chuckles.
I'll send in the video to have like tons of them laughing Joker emojis splattered all over the screen.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Anytime somebody subscribes, you have a laughing Joker pop up or something.
Yeah.
To discourage anybody from ever subscribing again.
That would actually be quite funny.
I actually work on that. I'm going to do that now for legit because we haven't got a subscriber thing yet, so I'm going to do that. Get the laughing Joker as the little pop up.
Guess I like that idea. With the hope that people will subscribe as frequently as Rain posts that emoji.
Yeah, that's the ideal.
What if we had a subscriber for every time Rames posted that?
Yeah. Imagine the money we make.
They're bigger than PewDiePie. Always going for the shotgun.
Shit. I've never tried it before. At this point, I'm not really sure what else to do, except for reconstruct my base so it makes more sense, but I'm too lazy to do that.
It's fine. It's a good enough stopping point if you want to do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Meco can backseat game for you as well. So that's an option.
Yeah. I guess next time we stream this, we should do multiplayer.
Yeah.
We can do that, yeah. You can host the same map.
I think that'd be wise, because if you're already at that point where you like, it might encourage you to play it more.
I think it's more fun, yeah, with people, because people, when you do everything yourself, it can get kind of tedious. Whereas if you split up and everyone does a share, it goes much smoother in my opinion.
But suffering is always better, not as bad when it's shared.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's why we always play LOL together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because later on you get like faster belts and faster inserts and stuff, so everything doesn't feel as sort of dragged out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's basically how it is, right? It's a continued process of making itself less tedious.
Pretty much, and then you get to a point where you focus on fucking killing biters and making nuclear weapons and. I still haven't made one of them spiders yet, though, and I really want to.
Oh, yeah. Same.
You can shoot fucking rockets just everywhere automatically. It looks so fun.
I hadn't got to that in the vanilla game, and in Factorio, I think it's just really expensive or something. It was kind of tedious to make, so I just didn't do it. But, yeah, they look cool, and you can automate them to, like, patrol around. Or, I don't know if you can make more than one.
You can have, like, you can be in one and have the others following you and stuff, and you can just take over the bases. It's just...
Looks cool. And then, nuclear artillery trains, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. They shoot fucking rockets as they're going by. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, they've improved on the last update, they improved the train network a lot now, because you can actually see, well, you've just got more details on what they're actually doing and how long they're doing it for and what they've been doing for the past hour and stuff. Whereas before, you kind of you can only sort of just, well, there were a lot to do, I guess, because you can choose like when you want it to set off and stuff, and God, it gets so complicated over this game after a while.
Yeah.
Especially when you start messing around with logistics. Yeah, you should have a degree by the end of it.
So, is it giving you flashbacks to your old job yet?
No, not really.
No, okay. That's good.
Yeah. He weren't fighting biters in his old jobs.
That's kind of what the other employees were like.
I was going to say, if his job were like this, I think it'd be pretty fun. But I think it would just... I'm imagining it would be equivalent of just picking stuff up off the belts rather than actually make...
Like, my job would be like being one of the inserters rather than being that.
Gotcha.
Me to make an Exdeath skin for the insert. Just him leaning over and picking it up and putting it in.
slave labor mod for Factorio.
Yeah, where all the machines are replaced by people. That'd be terrible.
That'd be cool.
I hope someone's already made something like that.
Probably.
Alright, yeah, I'll just end it now, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Get to the point where I really have to fix everything that I don't feel like putting in the effort to do that right now, so...
Yeah,
just call
next
it.
time we play, we'll do multiplayer.
Yeah, I was going to say, me and Mr. A will come on and we'll sort it out.
Yeah. Just totally revamp your factory. Lay down blueprints everywhere.
Pimp my factory.
Pimp your factory, exactly. Should be the title of the next episode.
Okay, that sounds good.
Alright. Okay. I'm gonna hop off.
Yes.
See you guys.
See you later.